Okay, I'm going to show you how to repair the buttons in this APCmini unit. I made 3 different buttons for this. The one is for the long rectangle buttons, and then another one for the round buttons, and then this square one is its own button. It's just that one. But I made these spaced out correctly, so if you wanted to fix all of these, you just peel off one adhesive and stick it down. And the same with these, that you could do a whole row, or if you want to do just individual buttons, you can just cut these with scissors and put down anywhere you want. And if you want to do these, they're too far apart to line up together, so you do have to get one of these and then cut and put them down individually on this row. Now the first thing to take this apart is we have to pry off all these knobs on the sliders. And they come off really easy. Just any kind of pry tool. They just pop right off. I already took some of the screws out because I've already put in some of the buttons in this. Because there's a lot of screws in the back. So you flip that over and there's, 12 screws in the back. So I only have 4 left right now. All the screws are the same size, so it doesn't matter where you get them from. You don't have to keep track. Okay, then the back comes off. It's just a thin housing in the back. Comes right off. And then there's 4 screws holding the board down. Okay, now when we're going to go put it back together, they're just in a square right in the center, and you don't do those. They have this small circle around them for the little screws when we put it back together. So now we need to lift up this board, and your rubber keypad might stick to this, especially if there's any oil buildup. These thick rubber keypads will ooze out oil, and then it'll kind of stick on there. So then you just have to peel it off. And there's no, if there's any kind of liquid or whatever, it's oil from the rubber, and we need to clean that up. This one didn't need repair, so it didn't have any, but you would use, I like 90+% isopropyl alcohol and a rag, and you just damp the rag and you can go ahead and clean it up. There's nothing on here you can break with isopropyl alcohol. And while we got it apart, I'll just mention, if you do have, I don't know if these slider potentiometers will cause a problem for anybody, but if they do start to act up and jump around or don't work very good, I recommend deoxit chemical, and probably any of the deoxit will work. They make a special one for faders, but I've always just used the regular standard red stuff, and you can just put a couple drops in there and then slide it back and forth. It'll clean it right up. So as you can see, I've already installed the buttons here and here, and it's just a row, and you can peel off the brown paper backing, and if you have any trouble getting it started, you can use a pin, and the pin will just jab the paper and pull it right off really easy. And if you're going to do a whole row, you can just peel it off, and what I would do, I'll show you. So just peel off all the backing, and then I would kind of hold it like this and just line up, try to center those LEDs, and I'd look at one side, like over on the left, center that up, and then look over on the right, and just kind of slowly put it down. And that's it. You really don't even have to touch it. You want it as flat as possible, so you don't want to be pushing on this because you might warp it and then a button might get stuck down. And the adhesive is just to hold it there while we put it back together, so that's fine. Now if you wanted to do these buttons down here, you just have to cut off a button with scissors. And the brown backing comes off. The brown paper will come off very easily once you get it started. If it's causing you any trouble, you might be splitting the membrane apart. This is 3 layers. We don't want to peel the layers apart when we're doing that. And so then I'm putting these down with there's the black lines on the top and the bottom. It really doesn't matter, but I think it'll work a little bit better if it's on the top, the way this is designed. And we just make sure that the LED is in the middle so it's not touching the black parts. And put that down like that. And that's it. So you can do all the buttons or just ones that you use a lot. If there is oil on this, you can pull this whole rubber keypad right out. And I would wash it with warm water, and maybe warm water and a little bit of soap, or you could have an old toothbrush. You want to get all that oil out just so it doesn't cause problems, goop up, stick stuff down, etc. When you're putting the rubber keypad back in, sometimes they go crooked and you have to kind of work at it. You might have to flip it over and kind of make sure it goes through. So, and that's pretty much it. So then we just got to put it back together. And the 4 screws. Now for testing, just to make sure everything works all right, I would just put in the 4 screws in the corner and then hook it up. You could put these back on, but for testing, I would just hook it back up to your computer and make sure, you know, check the buttons out, and they should work with just a light press, you know, just like when they're brand new. And you have to power it up with the computer, with the software, to get the lights to light up and stuff. But and then once you just make sure everything's great, you can then put all the rest of the screws back in, and it should be fine. And that the membrane blocks dirt and oils from gumming it up again, and the material does not wear out. Oh, and the square button, I forgot to show you the square button, but it's pretty obvious. It just goes right there on the square button if you need that one. And then you just pop these back on. Once you're done, they just pop right back on. Doesn't matter which one goes where. And that's it. Thanks for watching.